On the 14th of November 2025, the Nigeria Supply Chain Leadership Summit brought together top industry leaders and professionals in Lagos to discuss the future of Nigeria's supply chain ecosystem. This year's theme, Unlocking Nigeria's Supply Chain Growth for Trade and Investment Success, explored strategies to strengthen efficiency, resilience, and competitiveness across the value chain. In this video, we highlight the powerful and insightful message from Dr. Albert Igwe, a respected thought leader shaping the evolution of supply chain excellence across Africa. His keynote focuses on Africa Supply Chain Renaissance, Nigeria's Path Forward. Watch, learn, and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more supply chain insights and event coverage from Supply Chain First.
My agenda is to look at introduction, look at the landscape of supply chain in Africa, look at the possible roadmap, and then Africa supply chain map, and then I call for action because it's not just talking. We have to take some action. And part of action is what we did this morning. If we have talked last year and see the conversation, then we won't be here today. And I believe that many things have changed between last year and this year, including my life. This year, I decided to fill a gap in the logistic chain, logistic supply chain. Before Nigeria signed the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, I was part of the delegates in Ethiopia, and I asked a question. If Africa is going to integrate as a one economic bloc for purpose of trade, what happens to dangerous goods that move from one mode to the other? And I didn't get any, in fact I got an answer of ignorance. Dangerous goods by road, by air, by sea, there is little or no compliance. And I believe if I ask the same question, what is dangerous goods here, I may get similar answer that I got in Ethiopia. So what I did was to register an academy for dangerous goods. That is why you find Dangerous Goods Academy. And that is to fill the gap for Africa. Because I can tell you, this might well be the only Dangerous Goods Academy in the continent. So actions are taking place so that we can do a successful business continental. All right, so maybe I should change location. So I won't be straighten my head. The thrust of my presentation is to ask ourselves a critical question: how Africa is reconstructing her supply chains as a pillar of regional development, and in terms of Nigeria's role. Is Africa actually reconstructing her supply chain? We need to answer the question here. If not, why not? And then is Nigeria responding positively? So, if we answer that question, I can very well go and sit down because I've answered the question for which I was brought here to do. I don't want to presume that everybody knows what is supply chain. So I've asked a question for the benefit of those who know and those who are yet to know. What is supply chain? And it's simply a network of organizations, people, structures, and activities involved in the production and delivery of goods and services. Two things I've underscored: goods and services. For me, the latter is more important than the former. Services going on, and they've been going on for a long time. Africa has been divided into blocks. They are regional blocks. They are not really geographical, they are regional blocks for the purpose of trade. Okay, so we have the north, the west, the east, the central, and the south. They're all there. And of course we have the seventh one, or the sixth one, which is those in diaspora. So they constitute a big chunk of Africa, although they're not resident in Africa. And from IMF records, those in diaspora brings in more money to Africa than IMF or World Bank. If you check all the money we have borrowed, you see that those who are in London, the US, and whatever, the money they send to Africa is more than all the money the whole country has borrowed. So that is where we are. So let's look at some important information that was released by UNCTAD in 2023. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, unveiled this Economic Development in Africa Report 2023 on 16th of August 2023 in Nairobi, emphasizing Africa's significant potential to emerge as a major participant in global supply chains. The report underscores the continent's vast reserves of critical materials necessary for the high technology sectors and its rapidly expanding consumer markets. Two things are important here. So two things are very important here. One is the material flow. We're going to, next slide please. All right. The critical resources are the material flows and of course the consumer market that is rising. Consumer market refers to you and I because we are consuming. Within the week I've ordered something from Temu. I don't know where Temu is, but I've ordered. Some of you have ordered from Amazon. There's a few things I ordered from Amazon that are yet to arrive, but they say they have been delivered. So I'm making a case with Amazon now. So what is happening? Where did you deliver it to? Those are disruptions in supply chain, so it all happen. All right, but the market is increasing. Now, Africa supply chain landscape. I know you know what this is. This is the map of the world, and this is where Africa is located. That means we are the center of logistics and supply chain. If we harness that tool very well. In fact, this tool of geographic position of Africa is more important than the oil. Because if services have taken preeminence in global development, it means that Africa, if I'm moving something from Africa to Australia, I would have gone and come back before somebody from US gets to Australia. Same with South America to Asia or to Europe. So we are blessed with a kind of logistic centrality to the world, if we can make it of that. All right. So look at what is happening in Africa by virtue of the changing landscapes. So you find that there are very many trade blocks, free trade areas in Africa to facilitate trade, even before the African Continental Free Trade was ever created. So we have them. Let's just quickly look at them. That is Southeast African Community, EAC, is already existing. It comprises Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Sudan, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. All right? We will not go through them in details. But this is another one, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. This one also is headquartered in Djibouti City. It comprises Djibouti, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Somalia, the Sudan, the South Sudan, and Uganda. All right? What's their aim? To improve trade, investment, financial background of member states. So it means there's actually some renaissance. People are readdressing themselves to make sure they trade very well. Then we have the Economic Community of Central Africa, ECAS, which also has members from Angola, Burundi, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Rwanda, Sao Tome, and Principe. So the headquarters is in Gabon. We have, of course, our own ECOWAS, so we can go to Ghana and buy something, buy Kente and come back. They will also come to Nigeria. Some people are coming from Ghana to Lagos to buy something and go back on daily basis. All right, so the trade is going on because we don't need passport to Ghana, passport to Nigeria. So we have kind of controlled some of the blocks that will have prevented us from trading. So we have the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa. Of course, it has Burundi, Comoros, DR Congo, Djibouti, Egypt, Eswatini. One thing that is prominent here is that some countries actually belong to one or two trade blocks. Okay, because there is increasing interest in trading across national boundaries. So we have the South African Development Community, SADC, which also has some of these countries I've mentioned before, Angola, Botswana, and the rest of them. So there's actually a renaissance in Africa. I've established the first question. Is there really one? The Community of Saharan States, CENSA, is also one of them. Even Nigeria is in that. All right? So, and the headquarters in Tripoli. The Arab Maghreb Union, MU, also have Algeria, Libya, and the rest of them. So a lot of things have been going on as far as trade liberalization and supply chain is concerned. Then we have the ultimate one, which is after all these regional blocks have been established, can we have one that will integrate all of us? So that's why we have the African Continental Free Trade Area. The question I was going to answer is, what is Nigeria doing in all of this? Like I said, I was in Ethiopia. I was one of the delegates from Nigeria and Ethiopia shortly before Nigeria signed the contract. That was 2021. Now, Nigeria has been very reluctant. We were about the 53rd country to sign this. So it tells us a whole lot of reluctance. Maybe we did not appreciate the value that we can offer the continent. Okay, as a major leader of the continent and a country where we are, in a continent where we are geographically positioned. Let me see if I can get that quickly. All right. Okay. All right. But I hope you know where Africa is and where Nigeria is in Africa. Nigeria is also about the center of Africa. We have access to Atlantic Ocean, which means we can do trade by sea. We have international airline, which will enable us to also trade by air, and we are also supposed to be connected with infrastructure. There's an infrastructure provision that is called from Cape to coast. That's from Cairo to Cape Town, which will also pass through Nigeria. But we have not done a lot about that, and no wonder we're not really competitive. We will talk about that in a minute. All right, so I guess I was about to talk. Okay, that's the African Continental Free Trade. So let's look at history of things that actually make supply chains work. One is digital transformation, because we're going to measure our country's interventions based on these parameters. Digital transformation, yes, regional integration. We'll talk about regional integration in the previous slides. Then we'll talk about infrastructure development. What are we doing on infrastructure? Renewable energy, dynamic young population. We have all of these. We have this. At least Africa as a whole has about 60% of population less than 25, and is considered the young continent by virtue of the youth population. Okay, these are the things. So we should ask ourselves, what are we doing in all of these? We also have the strategic pillars, the things we say if we just establish them, then we are in a good position to not just to trade, not just to fit into the supply chain, but also to be a leader, to command, given our capacity. Now, pillar number one is infrastructure modernization. That's pillar number one. I was alluding to this particular document. In highways, on July 1st, 1971, as a committee that was headed by Robert K. Gardiner, who was the Safety Secretary of the United Nations Commission for Africa, established a Trans-African Highway Bureau to oversee the development of a continental road network across Africa. And we have all these networks that will connect Africa for the purpose of infrastructure development to facilitate trade. You can see where Nigeria is. There's a TA7, Trans-African Highway 7, there's a Dakar-Lagos Highway. There's a Lagos-Mombasa Highway. And we'll ask ourselves, yes, how far? Nigeria, how far? Make an action, how far Nigeria? Now don't be now. Coastal Highway. Oh, you're building a coastal highway, okay. Let's pretend that we're working on. All right, so, because we're going to measure all of these with some certain metrics. We are not talking about rhetorics, okay? Now, this is Trans-African Rail Corporation. The one I mentioned from Cape Coast to Cairo, or Cairo to Cape Coast. That one is in red here, supposed to have been established with how far Africa. It is possible to travel to Europe by road. You don't move from London, I'm going to Austria, or from London to Germany. You can go by road, or Poland. People go to Austria from London to Poland by road. So why can't we do something that will integrate all of us? Even there's a proposal for Trans-African Railway line, but it's not working. And maybe because the big country, Nigeria, is not performing very well, I suspect. Okay, look at this. You find all the network of highway that have been proposed. This one is Tripoli, Germany. This one passed through part of Nigeria. You find all of them. They are all there. Time will not permit us to look at them. That's why I present them graphically for you to look at what is on the pipeline. But we need to pause the pipeline, so I will know what is inside. Sometimes we talk about this. It's in the pipeline. How long is that in the pipeline going to be seen? Maybe this conference will plan on how to bust it, isn't it? Let's see what is in the pipeline. So now we also have this other. If you look at it, you see Cairo-Dakar Highway, Trans-Sahel. These are all in the pipeline. But the giant of Africa have not demonstrated enough strength to see that Lagos-Mombasa Highway is there. Sometimes what do we do in the opposite? We block the gateways, right? When Nigeria get annoyed, they block the highway, the Cotonou, nobody, no more trade, don't come in. That's not what we should be doing. We should be asking ourselves, how do we improve trade? Because if we improve trade, we have a dynamic population that can take advantage of that. We have a location, we can provide services that the whole country or the whole continent needs. But what we do is, when we get annoyed, we block the borders. All right, so the other critical thing is digital transformation. All right, right now you can pay for your services right here. You don't need to go to bank. I can place an order. Yes, it's possible. Many Nigerians have access to internet payments. All right. Nigeria has the largest number of internet users on the continent. It's maybe like over 100 million. It's easy to clap hand for us. But if you look at the population, you see that we are not even, Madagascar is better than us. Mauritius is better than us if you look at the population. All right? So we are trying, but we're not there yet. All right? So in terms of one major parameter called the World Bank Condition Performance Index, Nigeria is behind countries like South Africa, Egypt, Botswana, Namibia, Benin Republic, highlighting significant challenges in transportation, road, rail, port, and utilities leading to high costs and inefficiencies. So we're not doing very well if you look at that parameter. That parameter is organized by World Bank, so we're not there yet. So if you look at number of internet users, you can see we appear very high, but if you plug it into the population, you see that we're not very well. Okay, integrated. So since I have 5 minutes, you can come to my office for the balance. Okay. Policy and institutional reforms. Nigeria is a emerging market, you know that, with significant potential in terms of supply chain, but it's currently a middle to low performer in Africa. That's the sad news. All right. So let's move on. Regional value chain development. We must move beyond exporting raw material to developing local value addition and manufacturing. I thank God for Dangote. Otherwise, we will take our oil to Africa and bring it back. I had a bad experience in 2008 or so. I was invited by African Development Bank to Tunisia. And in order to go to Tunisia, I was given an option to fly to South Africa and then connect a flight to Tunisia. So I'm going to down South Africa before I go to up north Tunisia. Or I will fly to London and pick up the other one. And from London, I'll go to Europe first and come to Africa back again. Or I'll go to Cote d'Ivoire. I had those three options. Of course, I chose London. My family was in London. I said, why don't you use this opportunity and visit everywhere? Okay? So, but you can see that Nigeria didn't have capacity to fly an aircraft to Tunisia, where you have the African Development Headquarters. And Cote d'Ivoire is out of there. So that tells you about where we are. Okay. Prioritize sustainability and governance. I'm not going to talk much about it because we have not counted one, we can't count two. Talking about sustainability is like doing advanced level. Alright, so then integration and collaboration. Let me hit something. That is Nigeria, at the center of Africa again, with a lot of latitude to go east, west, north, and south. Better than Egypt will have, or South Africa. But if you look at the parameters and logistic performance index, you find that South Africa is number 1, Egypt is number 2, with Botswana. The people that are supposed to have advantage are not making progress. All right, so I recommended that I'll leave this. I'll go to the last slide because I don't want to offend me again next year. They say this man offended last year, so we'll not get him on board next year. All right, so let me go to something. So this is the Logistics Performance Index as far as Africa is concerned, the top performers. So you can see where your country is. I have left Africa. I've come to Nigeria. I've left the world. I've gone to Africa. This is Nigeria. Can we clap for ourselves? No clap. Okay. All right. So these are the details we need to discuss, but we will not discuss them now. So Nigeria's national single window holds the potential to move Nigeria forward in international logistics ranking. But maybe it should situate itself within the Ministry of Logistics and Supply Chain to enable it to have a clear focus and budget line to drive the process. This is very important for me as a key recommendation. I was part of the Presidential Committee on Ease of Doing Business in this country at the time Osinbajo was acting for president. I know what we did. After doing that, one agency was actually Customs. They scattered everything we did because they were just thinking about their own pocket. All right, so now we have started a single window to make sure we integrate everything we do to pass through one channel so that things will be facilitated. Not Customs saying, all right, no, we need to do fiscal examination when everybody is going digital. All right, so we hope it will work by the grace of God. All right, so I am asking that since we are bold to start a national single window, which has been a rhetoric for several years, maybe we can take the bold initiative to also situate it within a logistics and supply chain ministry. And I'm happy to say that I promoted marine and blue economy. I was a guest speaker like this in a conference, and after I said my own recommendation, or the most important one, was to establish the marine and blue economy. And it was carried. And in the next few months, it was announced. So maybe I'll be lucky again to have this one established so that we can articulate a supply chain logistics policy. Because having custom hold us here, this one hold us here, this one hold us there, will make this discussion just a rhetoric. So maybe you may not forget to clap for me, but make sure you do. You may not want to clap for me, but make sure you do whatever you can for us to get this message. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching this highlight from the Nigeria Supply Chain Leadership Summit 2025. At Supply Chain First, we bring you the latest updates shaping both the global and African supply chain landscape, from breaking industry news to market trends, expert interviews, and deep, actionable insights. For more exclusive stories and updates, visit our website at supplychainfirst.com. If you're hosting a supply chain, logistics and procurement conference, event, or industry program, and you need full professional media coverage, reach out to us at info@supplychainfirst.com or contact us through our website wherever you are in Africa. We are ready to be there, supporting your event and helping to grow the industry together. Thank you once again for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in our next update.